One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. In the complex labyrinth of the human psyche, there exists a vast, often uncharted region, a place where our deepest fears, repressed desires, and unspeakable emotions dwell. This is the shadow. We may try to ignore it, reject it, or deny its existence, but no matter how much we attempt to suppress it, the shadow remains. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and visionary who explored the depths of the unconscious mind, encouraged us not to avoid this darker part of ourselves, but to embrace it. In fact, Jung believed that true self-realization, or individuation, could only happen when we confronted and integrated our shadow. Today, we delve into the depths of shadow work, a transformative process based on Jungian psychology, that invites us to explore and accept the darker, hidden parts of ourselves. This journey is not just about healing, it's about wholeness. At its core, the shadow represents the parts of ourselves that we repress or fail to acknowledge. These are the aspects of our personality, behaviors, and emotions that we deem unacceptable, undesirable, or incompatible with our conscious self-image. As Jung famously said, everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. These shadow aspects of ourselves often carry a deep sense of discomfort, fear, and shame. They include emotions such as anger, jealousy, and fear, but can also encompass unacknowledged strengths, talents, or desires. The shadow is not inherently evil or bad, rather, it is the unconscious repository of all that we reject, not necessarily because it is evil, but because it feels unsafe or unworthy of our attention. It is a place where both our greatest strengths and greatest weaknesses can reside, often in a delicate balance. For example, someone might repress their anger because they were taught it's wrong to express it. However, that same anger, if properly channeled, can also manifest as courage and the energy to stand up for what's right. The shadow contains these hidden potentials, which are often our most creative and transformative forces. Where does the shadow come from? Jung believed that the shadow emerges from the unconscious mind, which consists of all the thoughts, feelings, memories, and desires that we are not fully aware of. From the moment we are born, we begin to internalize societal and cultural norms, family expectations, and personal beliefs about what is acceptable. As we grow, we learn to suppress certain aspects of ourselves in order to conform to these external expectations. As a child, you may have been told to stop expressing anger, or that crying is a sign of weakness. As you internalize these messages, the emotions and behaviors associated with them are repressed, and over time, these suppressed traits become part of your shadow. However, the shadow doesn't only emerge from negative experiences. Even positive traits, if overemphasized or imbalanced, can end up in the shadow. For instance, if we are always praised for being the responsible one, we may suppress the playful or carefree aspects of our personality, fearing they might be seen as irresponsible. Jung argued that repression of the shadow is inevitable, but when we fail to confront it, we live a life of psychological imbalance, feeling disconnected from the totality of our being. To be truly whole, we must not only recognize and acknowledge the light aspects of ourselves but also the dark. Only then can we integrate them into a harmonious and balanced personality. Why must we engage in shadow work? The answer lies in the fragmented nature of the psyche. By repressing parts of ourselves, we create an internal split, one between our conscious self, the persona we present to the world, and the unconscious self, where the shadow resides. This division can lead to psychological disintegration, making us feel disconnected from our true essence, leading to anxiety, depression, or existential crises. Projection is one of the most prominent ways the shadow operates. When we project our repressed qualities onto others, we see in them the very traits we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves. For example, if someone denies their own anger, they may become overly critical of others who express anger. Projection creates distorted relationships, as we are not truly seeing the other person, but rather a mirror of our unresolved inner conflict. Furthermore, the shadow is the source of the unconscious patterns that govern our lives. We may find ourselves repeating the same mistakes, engaging in toxic relationships, or sabotaging our own success without fully understanding why. These patterns are not random, they are rooted in the repressed parts of ourselves that are seeking to be recognized. Until we bring these unconscious patterns into conscious awareness, they will continue to shape our reality in negative ways. Shadow work is not an easy journey, it requires courage, honesty, and the willingness to face what we've hidden from ourselves. It is a gradual, ongoing process that involves confronting the darker parts of our psyche and integrating them into our daily lives. Jung described individuation, the process of becoming the person you are meant to be, as a lifelong journey. Shadow work is one of the crucial steps along this path. Here are the key stages of engaging in shadow work. Awareness and acknowledgement. The first step is to become aware of the shadow's existence. This is not a superficial awareness, but a deep self-examination that requires honesty and courage. It may involve confronting uncomfortable truths about yourself, behaviors, emotions, or patterns you've long avoided. Pay attention to recurring negative thoughts or feelings that cause inner turmoil, as they are often linked to shadow aspects. The very act of acknowledging the shadow is transformative, as it allows us to recognize the hidden forces that shape our behavior. Exploration and reflection. The next stage involves exploring the shadow in greater depth. This process often begins with identifying projections. Ask yourself, what do I dislike or criticize in others? The things that irritate or anger us in others are often reflections of our own unacknowledged traits. By reflecting on these projections, you can begin to unravel the parts of yourself that need attention. This step requires vulnerability and an openness to seeing yourself not just as the good parts you cherish, but also the bad parts you reject. Journaling, meditation, and dream analysis are all powerful tools in this phase. Jung believed that dreams are a gateway to the unconscious mind, and often, they can reveal hidden aspects of the shadow. When you encounter disturbing or unsettling imagery in your dreams, take note of it and consider how it might be related to aspects of yourself you have repressed. Integration and acceptance. This is the most crucial step of shadow work, integration. Integration does not mean eliminating the shadow, but embracing it. It means accepting all parts of yourself, both light and dark, and recognizing their value. Often, the traits we reject are qualities that, when expressed in a healthy way, can benefit us. For instance, if you've repressed your anger, you may come to understand that anger is not inherently bad, it is simply a signal that your boundaries are being violated, or that something important needs attention. To integrate the shadow, you must actively choose to express and act on these repressed traits in a conscious, controlled manner. This allows you to regain lost energy and power, freeing yourself from the unconscious grip of the shadow. Integration requires continuous self-awareness and the ability to channel this newfound energy in ways that enrich your life. Living wholly. The ultimate goal of shadow work is wholeness, the ability to live authentically, without splitting yourself into parts. By embracing all aspects of yourself, you achieve a greater sense of inner peace and balance. This journey of self-realization is ongoing. As we grow and evolve, new layers of the shadow may emerge. But by committing to this process, we move closer to becoming the fully integrated, authentic self that Jung envisioned. As you move through the stages of shadow work, you will begin to experience profound benefits in all areas of life. Increased self-awareness. The more you confront your shadow, the more you understand your true motivations, desires, and fears. This deeper awareness allows you to make more conscious choices and live a more authentic life. Emotional healing. By acknowledging and embracing your repressed emotions, you begin to heal old wounds and release emotional baggage. This process helps you develop a healthier relationship with your emotions and your past. Improved relationships. As you stop projecting your shadow onto others, your relationships become more honest, open, and balanced. You begin to interact with others as they are, not as reflections of your own inner struggles. Increased creativity and personal growth. By integrating repressed aspects of yourself, you unlock new sources of creativity, energy, and potential. This personal growth allows you to reach new heights in both your personal and professional life. Shadow work is not a one-time task, but a lifetime journey toward wholeness. It requires bravery, vulnerability, and the willingness to explore parts of ourselves that we may not want to face. But through this journey, we discover not only the depths of our inner darkness but also the hidden treasures within, the unacknowledged strength, creativity, and authenticity that lie dormant within us. By embracing our shadow, we learn to accept and integrate all parts of ourselves. We transcend the limitations of a fragmented self and begin to live with greater clarity and purpose. This process of self-realization, as Jung would say, is the key to becoming who we truly are. Through shadow work, we become more than just the persona we present to the world, we become whole, acknowledging both the light and the darkness that make us human. The road is not easy, nor is it always clear. There will be times when the darkness feels overwhelming, when the confrontation with our own shadow seems too daunting to face. But in those moments, we must remember that it is through embracing the darkness that we come to see the light more clearly. As Carl Jung once wisely noted, in all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Each step toward integration, each shadow we confront and accept, is a step toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. In the end, shadow work is about more than just healing or overcoming internal conflict. It is about becoming whole, about stepping into our fullest potential, and about embracing the truth of who we are, both the light and the dark. So, if you choose to embark on this journey, know that you are not alone. The process of self-discovery is universal, shared by all who seek to know themselves deeply. Every step you take toward integrating your shadow is a step toward greater freedom, wisdom, and inner peace. In the words of Carl Jung, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And through shadow work, you are on the path to exactly that, becoming your truest self.